we want to do a soft opening with this because we're in the process of developing our quick webinars and we're trying to figure out what works best. So afterwards, I'll probably follow up with you and get any recommendations that you may have.
Okay.
So you guys are really as much input as you can give us, and be critical, but be nice, and we'll let John go ahead and roll here.
Okay. And Pete's he's lining up a calendar of the future noon Zooms we're going to do and looking for ideas. So if you have any, just shoot him an email, and I know he'll try and work it in. I think for Jeanette, we covered in the business seminar that we had last week, we covered the Initiate platform. Today, we're really just going to dive into Facebook and what's available. And you guys kind of tell me as I get into it. I'm going to keep it pretty basic with what you need to do. But then if you want to get more specific, we sure can. We're a lot of this training, more than we're going to be able to cover in a half an hour, is available on the Native 360 Initiate site. There's more than 150 pages of coaching tips and guides and videos and spreadsheets, all sorts of stuff that you can use. It's updated regularly, so they're doing a lot of updates for COVID-19, and stuff doesn't get real out of date. I think they review anything and do updates every month. So that's one of the benefits of this. If you just start Googling around the internet, you might find some stuff, but a lot of what you're going to find is out of date. That's especially true with Facebook. One of the things that kind of drives me bonkers is that they're always playing with the design and layout of their pages, and even some of the functionality with COVID and all the political stuff. They've changed that, and they put restrictions on how you can mention COVID-19 in advertising. So a lot of that stuff will get updated on the Initiate platform. And then what we're planning to do is also all these sessions that we're doing, we're going to link on the Initiate platform so that you can watch a video or you can go back and check out one of the PowerPoints. And we think that'll be a nice feature. So Pete's making this available to all his Native 360 clients, but it is limited, and he kind of is giving preference to people that are either doing loans or have requested technical assistance from Native 360.
And John, with our friends in Oklahoma there, we've worked out I believe we said what, 30 day?
30 days.
Yeah. So, and then I'll work something out with Christopher for you, Jeanette, and we want to provide as much technical assistance, and Christopher and Eric are great people to work with, so don't worry about that.
Yep. And I guess just a little bit about me. My company's Nebraska Digital. We do a lot of WordPress related web design, and then we also kind of act as a small marketing agency for small business customers. I've been doing marketing since the early days of the internet, actually pre-internet. So that's kind of nice. We've designed and hosted more than 1,000 websites. We've got clients all over the US and 3 or 4 in Europe. So they have really strict privacy laws over there, and those privacy laws are getting copied in California and other places. So it's kind of nice to have that experience. Pretty much all our clients are small business customers, just like you guys. So that's kind of nice. We're not huge. We're kind of small by design. We've got 5 employees. And, I always tell the people I'm working with, we know a lot, but we don't pretend to know everything. So you probably can stump us, but if we can't answer it, we know where to go to get you an answer. We're not going to be able to cover everything in 30 minutes, but especially for Jeanette, I thought it might be helpful. These are just some of the resources on Initiate that on that platform. And right now, while you've got that 30 days access, would be the time to go through them. Where there's this managing my business page that really it walks you through with screenshots exactly how to set up a business presence, and how to start working with Facebook ads. There's just a lot of really good, here's 12 different pages, and these are probably the most important pages up there. And they'll be linked in the PowerPoint that we post on Initiate. This is kind of that basics page, and it will walk you through how to get everything set up. The most frequent mistake that we see businesses make is, well, there's two of them. They'll either start with a personal page for their business instead of creating a business page, or else they'll start a group instead of a business page. You really want to have a business page because it lets you do more. Facebook, if they see that you've set up a personal page for your business, they can actually go shut it down. And when that happens, anybody that's friended you're going to lose access to, and you can just waste a lot of time. So when we're working with somebody brand new, that's the first thing that we look at is, did you create the right kind of page? And if you didn't, what do we need to do to fix it? And there are ways to do that. You can go in and merge pages, and sometimes you can save a personal page or a groups page, and sometimes you can't. It's really kind of up to Facebook and the way that you go around it. The other problem that we see a lot is where an employee starts it, that the business owner's too busy and the employee thinks that business ought to have one, so they'll start it and they'll grow it and they'll promote it, and then they leave. And then all of a sudden the business owner is going, what the heck, I can't post anything, or worse yet, we've seen this recently with one of the businesses that we've left. The employee gets fired, and then they've got control of the business owner's Facebook page. So when you're setting these up, especially if you have employees, you really have to be careful about who has access to that page. And that doesn't mean there are different what are called roles that you can assign to the employee, and you really want to tightly control the admin access, because those are kind of the keys to the city. Any admin can kick another admin off. And with this business that we worked with had the problems, that's what happened. Was the owner fired the employee went on Facebook and kicked the owner off of his own page. And then you have to go in and convince Facebook that who the owner is, and it becomes a big mess, and you don't want a big mess. So always look at that. You can make them an editor or a contributor, and that will work quite a bit better. So they're easy enough to set up. You want to try and be as complete as possible, and you want that address that you use for the company, you want it to be the same address that you're using in your Google business listing. That kind of scores you some points between both companies. They want to see consistency in how you're putting yourself out there. Just answer every question you have. If you don't have official business hours, I always, if you're doing like a consulting business or you're just getting up and going, I always tell people to go ahead and, list what your hours should be. So 8 to 5, 9 to 5, however you want to do it. They want to see that profile be as complete as you can. Links and photos and videos and using a background in your post, those things get you noticed. All the studies I've looked at say it makes between a 75 and a 90% difference in people seeing your business. They really want to see that. I know some of the native 360 clients that we worked with, they're nervous about experimenting with video, or they're worried because they've got an older phone and they don't take the best pictures. My advice is, even if it's not perfect, go ahead and do it, and experiment with it, because the nice thing about this platform is nobody really expects it to be perfect. You just want it to be interesting. So, where like on a website, we don't want to use a bad picture of, food for your restaurant. We want the highest quality one we can. On Facebook, people just aren't that picky. Um, the other advice we always give people is whenever you can, you want to use the @ symbol to connect your visitors or another page to your post. People look for that, and those show up in those shares show up in your news feed. And so anything you can do to show up in somebody else's feed hopefully brings some more traffic to your site. And then we get asked a lot about boosted posts. You're going to see that when you set up your business page. Facebook periodically will say, hey, this post is performing well, you should think about boosting it. Or you can really boost any page that you've got. We'll cover that more in another slide, but it makes a lot of sense. One of the other big mistakes that we see people make is they'll say, I've got to do more with Facebook, and they'll post things 2 or 3 times, and then they don't post for a month or 2. And that's just not going to work, because people want to see frequency. You've got to get it on a schedule and keep doing it for it to work. One of the nice things that's in the Native 360 Initiate platform is the social media planning calendar. These first 3 slides are all from there. And basically what it is an Excel sheet that lets you track all your social media posts, so that you make a schedule for yourself and you kind of stick to it. There's no rocket science in it. It's just a 3-page Excel worksheet, but it kind of helps to get you on a schedule. There are also tools out there, and that's down here in the bottom corner of this slide. I wanted to kind of highlight them. Hootsuite is the main one, but it has some competitors too. And these are really, they're paid services, but they do a lot to kind of automate the posting you do, not just to Facebook, but you can post to Instagram, LinkedIn, your blog, if you have a blog. It's a way to kind of step it up and automate that and do all your posting from one platform and kind of keep yourself on a schedule. So that's one of the things you've kind of got to judge is, do I have the discipline to just go do the free tools and get on a regular schedule? Here, I'm going to let Stephanie in. We're kind of in mid-slide here, but we'll keep going, and unmute yourself and say hi later if you want. So what we'll say is use the free tools, and if you want to get more sophisticated and hit more platforms and save time, then use one of these paid services. Also, we've got some people that are doing WordPress sites that we've developed through Native 360, or they might have one of their own. And with WordPress, there are some posting tools that let you do this, what's called scheduled posting, without having all these monthly fees. So if you've got a WordPress site, that's something maybe we could help you with. Here I wanted to talk about boosting Facebook posts. I'm not sure who's done this before, but you'll see on any of your posts, there's a little button that will let you, when you're logged in as the admin, you can go in and boost it. And you'll see down here at the bottom of the page, it lets you set a budget, and you can also do some real basic targeting. So it lets you go in and edit and pretty much it's going to say, I want to reach, by default, it's going to say, I want to reach people around my area, people who are like the people who visit my page. And what it really does is, if you've got, what's happening behind the scenes is, it's going to look at the characteristics of everybody who's liked your page in the past and say, how can we find more people who look like that? So it'll look at like their age, where they live, all that demographic information, and let you promote from there. And we've got a lot of customers that are in rural areas, whether it's like Nebraska or Jeanette, where you are down in Oklahoma. One of Pete's clients up here in Nebraska has a convenience store in a small town. And, if I think last time I looked, I think they had 300 and some people. That number might not be right, but it's in an area of maybe 1,500. So if you can target that area and people who look like the 300 people you've already got, you really can target that whole region pretty inexpensively. And by that I mean with a budget of 10 to 20 bucks. So, you don't maybe want to do it on every post, but when you've got something important where it's a grand opening or a new product or, something special that you're doing, these promoted posts are real easy to do. They're pretty cheap. You get some nice stats on how they work. And depending on the kind of business that you've got, they can work really, really well. I wanted to put together just some real quick tips and tricks. I think I already mentioned making sure that you create a business page, not a personal page or a group, and limiting the access to it. Another thing that we'll sometimes have to do with business owners, especially if they haven't used Facebook or other social media a lot, is go ahead and have some fun with it. Stephanie's here from Phillips Tax, and I think Stephanie, wasn't it, Gary was posting pictures of his cat for a while and getting a lot of feedback on it. People don't go on Facebook to get real serious, I don't think. So, you want to have a little bit of fun with what you're doing. That's okay. And another thing is to make it about your customers, not you. We saw that with some of our restaurant customers a lot during COVID. They were kind of more focused maybe on kind of getting sympathy for the situation that they're in, which was awful, but then talking about what was available to customers and how you could help. And you kind of need that when you're putting together your message. You need to think about your customers, not just yourself, like you would in a typical Facebook post. And then we always tell people to experiment with different types of posts. If you haven't done video, try it. If you don't have a picture or photo, then go find a good background. But don't just throw text up there and expect it to do real well, because all the user readership studies say that it doesn't. You're going to do 70 to 95% better when you add some other media to your text. We talked about promoting posts when it makes sense. And then the other thing, and Pete kind of preaches this on the financial side, but I do on the social side, is take that spreadsheet off Initiate or however you're going to do your tracking, and also don't just track when you're posting, but kind of keep an idea of what your budget was, what the results were, what kind of increase in traffic and follows you got. And then also just making some notes for next year about what you tried to promote so that you start to develop a calendar. Every business is seasonal, and so promoting the right things at the right time can make a big difference. One of the things for e-commerce customers that we're encouraging is it's gotten really easy in the last year or two to also feature your products in Facebook and Instagram. So that's something, if you're running an e-commerce store, you can do, or even if you're doing a business like a consulting business, you could offer online gift certificates or whatever. And the neat thing about these stores is they get a buy now button, and then they jump into your website to complete the purchase. So it's pretty neat. All the big guys are doing it, and a lot of this now is getting automated, more sophisticated. So it's Amazon and everybody else are jumping into it. It's something that small businesses should be experimenting with too, and it's not that expensive. Um, and then a lot of what we do in our business on the coaching side is to work with businesses where they've kind of got a basic Facebook presence set up, and they maybe promote a special or a promotion. They do the boosted posts every once in a while, but they want to go ahead and do more with Facebook ads. And the Facebook ads are different than boosted posts in that you can reach a lot wider audience, and you can do a lot more targeting. You can go look for people that are having conversations. On the horse side, Jeanette, it would probably be perfect for you because you can target people in rural areas who are talking about horses, or even just talking about tack. You can reach a wider audience, and you have a lot more control over it. I always tell people to be really careful though, because it's a lot easier to spend a lot of money. The nice thing about the boosted posts is you set a budget and it's right there in front of you, and you know whether you're going to spend 10 or 20 bucks. With Facebook ads, you could real easily target the whole world and spend a lot of money if you don't go in. It's actually easier with Google ads, but the same thing kind of holds true with Facebook ads. You want to just make sure you have a good handle and some limits on the money that you're spending. And you want to go at it, a boosted post, you can say, well, gee, we're doing a grand opening. It makes sense to promote this. When you're spending the money to do regular Facebook ads, you want to have some specific goals in mind and a way that you're going to go about accomplishing the goals. It just takes a little more thought. It's not something you're going to throw a credit card at it and be done in 15 seconds. You want to try and put together a campaign. One of the things you can do with Facebook, just like you can do with Google Ads, is retargeting. So if somebody has visited your page or your website, you can have your ad follow them around on Facebook and remind them that you're out there. I'm sure you probably, when you've gone out shopping, you go look at a neat pair of shoes, and those shoes follow you around for a while. As a small business owner, you have access to that same technology through both Facebook and Google. And retargeting can make a big difference for people in terms of bringing them back. So there's a lot of good, there are 7 or 8 really nice pages on kind of advanced Facebook advertising that are part of the Initiate platform. Yeah.
You're breaking up there, sorry.
Go ahead, Pete. What?
You're breaking up there.
Oh, sorry. Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, make sure to go in and take a look at what's available for that. And then also in Initiate, today we're just talking about Facebook, but there's a lot of good information about Google My Business, pretty much every social media platform that's out there. I wanted to mention Instagram real quick because Instagram's owned by Facebook. If you're going to do advertising on Instagram, you need to have a Facebook account and a Facebook page. They've kind of linked the two together. And so that's where you get started. But Instagram marketing is just a lot more visual. So there's a real good guide on Initiate to go through. But that's definitely worth taking a look at. Pinterest is another one that, especially if you kind of skew to more of a female demographic. My wife does a lot with zombie makeup and that kind of thing, and she kind of experimented with Facebook and other things, but she's got over 3,000 followers on Pinterest that follow different designs and photos that she posts. So depending on what you're doing, it can be something that's real good for you too. So that's kind of it. Let me stop sharing. Hey, does anybody have any specifics that they want to cover? I think we're right at a half hour, so we're on schedule. But I'm glad to stick around and we can talk about anything you want to talk about.
I know on Facebook, sometimes they'll offer a $5, like they'll match you $5 for your $10 boost. So that's something else to look at.
Yeah, and if you go looking, retailmenot.com, they'll sometimes have $25, $50, $100 codes that you can pop in, so where they'll do a bigger match.
Uh-huh.
Same thing for Google. Like Google, it's super easy to get $100 for free when you're starting out.
Okay.
And so it's a good way, you know, use their money. It's kind of like playing the casinos, use the house money to go out and do a little bit of that learning.
Okay.
What are you thinking about, Jeanette? Is there anything that you experimented with Facebook at all? Or?
Yeah, I started a little, just a little business to just keep me busy at the house, and just personalizing just little things here and there. And I've done pretty good. I mean, I wasn't looking for it to be like really making me some big money, but just keep me busy. And I've done pretty good, so I'm not going to complain.
If you're selling stuff, you might want to look both WordPress and Shopify. Make it easy to throw your products up there and have that buy button. That might be something. I don't know what the timing or what the business is, but you might want to take a look at that.
Okay.
Hey, Jeanette, do you train horses?
Oh, no.
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 You're just, okay.
We're just
go ahead.
We're just using them already trained. My husband and I are team ropers,
Okay.
and so we just buy the tack, and we usually just go to the horse or to the team ropings and set up. That's what our.
I have a reason I asked. I have a granddaughter that's 9 years old, and her dream right now in life is to be a horse trainer.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
We're just too old to train horses anymore.
Yeah, she's got she does 4-H right now, and I think she's got, between her and her dad, 2 or 3 horses, and she got bucked off. Got bucked off here a couple weeks ago, but she got back on.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. After we get done here, I'm working with a real estate lady to help her set up Facebook advertising for a horse property that's got a tack room and an indoor and an outdoor arena and all this stuff. And we're going to spend the afternoon figuring out different Facebook groups that we can target with ads. It's a $1.3 million property, so the audience is pretty limited, but you know, maybe we'll find them. Maybe we'll find them on Facebook. You never know. So
yeah.
All right. Does anybody else have anything else they want to throw out there? Any questions? Any ideas for Pete? And if not, we can kind of wrap things up. Do we know yet, Pete, when we're going to have the next one, or should we just have everybody watch for an email?
Yeah, we'll have the next one next week, and then we will we'll put together, as we develop this, Lisa and Jeanette, what we're doing is we're putting a calendar together, so you guys will get the calendar as well. And Lisa is on the phone. She's going to be doing October 16th and 23rd, 2 weeks. And then I have a QuickBooks 101 training, which will be the 2 weeks prior to that. So that'll be coming up. And then next week, we'll do another follow-up with you, John, on the other types of social media.
Okay.
So this is kind of our first test run. We just wanted to make sure we get all the bugs worked out of our Initiate site, and then we're going to officially launch it October 1st as well.
Awesome.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the first one.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.